Hey team, how we going? It is Kaz from In the Trenches with Kaz. He who dwells in the trenches. I'm here to say good day. It's been a while since we've spoken to each other. It was last weekend actually. We've had a long weekend in between that. And tonight should be fairly interesting because we're talking about the Australian military. What happens if it goes wrong? Because that's exactly what's happened for one of our fantastic subscribers who's chosen... Mr. P passed away ages ago, Josh. A long time ago. Hey, Simon, how you going, mate? Yeah, so what happens when it goes wrong? Well, that's what we're going to talk about tonight because it's been going wrong for people for thousands of years, whether it be a height restriction, whether it be flat feet, whether it be asthma, whether it be mental health, whether it be a criminal record. Nicole K, I hope you're doing better, mate. I hope you're doing well. So tonight we're going to talk about that a little bit. And it's important you do and you take into account what happens if you go to U-session, assessment session, medical, psychometric, session, the PFA, and you're found not to be wanting when this isn't a career, it's not a job, it's a calling. It's important that you have in the back of your mind, what if I fail? Because when it happens, it can be very painful from my point of view as well as yours when you've got to go back to the drawing board, so to speak, especially if you can't draw. See what I said then? Hey, Johnny, how you going? Kaz looking absolutely splendid today. Thank you, Johnny. It's a fantastic name you've got there, sir. You know it strikes me emotionally. I lost a brother named John. Right, we've got Joey Grace here. G'day, buddy. Okay, always here to represent. Max Bigham. G'day, Max. How you going, mate? Jennifer G. up there at Mackay, getting back into her fitness. Josh Afonso's thinking about him today, mate. Yep. We think about those that fell. For those that don't know, I'll be doing a call out tonight to my friend Justin Curran, who was my best friend at school. He died only a couple of days ago, and it was cancer. And now I'm in a position where I'm dealing with the thought of, do I look into Facebook and see, please don't let there be messages where he's been reaching out to me and I didn't hear it because I don't look at Facebook. I post on Instagram, which in itself as a byproduct goes to Facebook a lot of the time. But when you've got more than 4,000 people in Facebook, and you don't even know what they look like, it becomes moot. If you have Facebook, I recommend that you always have under 30 people there. It's not about gossip. It's about keeping in touch with those you truly, truly care about. Make people earn a position in your Facebook, and then it'll become a thing that you look forward to looking at. Simon Powell says, g'day. Yep, Dave D, represent. Mate, we've got a guy, I rarely get jealous, but this bloke has attacked Plan B after coming up, unsuccessful in his billet to become a military guy. So what he's doing is he's diverted the river, but now he's chasing success in a different avenue that I find absolutely exhilarating. And we're going to let you know what his university degree is going to be in a moment. Mr. C, g'day Kaz and chat. There you go. You can't say no to CCs. Did you know that the corn chip CCs used to actually be free when they first came out? Because Australians didn't have a taste for them. Hayden, not the cricket player, but Borgo. Joshimoto, good name. Are you Japanese? Or are you Spanish? Are you a Joshy that loves riding motorbikes? G'day, Kaz. First time tuning into the live. Great to have you here, Josh. Great to have you here. You're all welcome. Make sure you subscribe, team, and don't be shy. Ask a question. We have so many people that have been here forever. There is not a single subject that I'm not willing to talk about. I don't get offended. I get offended by people's ignorance, sometimes their ability to talk about a subject that quarantine themselves from the fire, so to speak, that you sit around to communicate about sometimes toxic situations. You can't improve anything until you actually deal with the elephant in the room, like my letterbox. It's one of the biggest phobias I've got, of going out there and finding a waterlogged bill that's been there for 6 months that I've forgotten to pay. BTEC. I tried getting in years ago and got knocked back for allergies. Yeah, that sucks, man. Fast forward this year and I got in within a month. It just doesn't make sense, does it? Is it because they've let and it's not always a good thing that they let someone in either, because sometimes you will let things down, reduce in standards. And although that person gets in and initially goes, yes, I've won the battle, they haven't won the war, because then they go out in the field environment and realise it's something like colour blindness, although it doesn't necessarily affect you other than when you cross the lights when it's red and green. But when you actually start to decipher a map coordinates, whether it be for reorganisation, whether it be for a calling in fire, whether it be for a 9-line for Kazovac, getting the casualty out of there, it can become a very life-threatening situation. People with flat feet all of a sudden having chronic back injuries because of the, what would you say, the ongoing rigour of carrying a pack on flat surfaces at times. Zach Don, hey Kaz, I really want to join the Army Infantry, but I struggle with C and Maths and English, and I am scared I will not pass this year. Okay, then you need to make that your goddamn focus. You need only an English and Maths pass at the Year 10 level to allow you through the door. Don't let me hear people talking about. We had a Carl P. There you go, mate. We're going to do a call out for your grandpa in a moment. We had a fantastic young fella who made the mistake the other day of being on Patreon, and the link is below, to get a one-on-one counselling. I suggest you do it. If you don't, it's a felony, really. That only falls short in your case. If you want the answers to problems, if you want numerous ways of skinning a cat, so to speak, in a Vietnamese sense, menu number 34, hocket and noodles, please, then I lost myself in that. Yeah. So the young fella rang me up asking for advice. He goes, I just want to go to infantry. And I know you don't have to be smart for that. And my head nearly exploded. I felt like going, what is it you think that you don't need to be intelligent for infantry? You're working on a decisive spectrum, limited time, limited knowledge, resource management, decision-making process. Do we go forward? Do we go sideways? We don't freeze unless it's to get a little bit more information, but our decision action cycle must be quicker than the enemy's, and quite often we're not going to get all the time in the world to make that decision before it becomes a life or death situation. It takes extreme fox cunning, to get onto that battlefield and not only win it, okay, but come back out alive. Because the biggest resource we work in is human lives, and they're human volunteers' lives. Bloodworth Botland, so they say. Treyo, yeah, Kaz, it's been a while. As you know, I discharged in 2021. In the middle of my reapplication, can I bother you for a call sometime? Sent a text, not sure if you got it. Could really use some advice. Hey, Trey, just send us another text right now, and I'll check this straight after. And absolutely, I look forward to talking to you. I just got a text from someone, and it's 2 sharks with their heads cut off on the beach as the first ever message, going, man, I'm not a mind reader. You need to actually have some dialogue below it, otherwise I just see it as a threat. I thought I needed a science pass as well. Lighty, no. You do need a pass in 4 things if you're going to go for mechanical engineering, etc. Chow, says Joshy. Hollywood Dumb Grunt, no such thing. Isaac Huggins, g'day Kaz, had specialist yesterday and got some bad news that's going to rule me out of the infantry. He's pushing for surgery now as my patella, that's your kneecap team, isn't tracking properly, so he wants to reconstruct it. Isaac, somebody's hurting, somebody's crying. For those who didn't know I could sing. Excellent. Treyo, did you change your number from 3 years ago? Yes, I did. Guys, sorry if I've confused you. Being a member is not where the phone number comes from. The phone number comes from Patreon team. I apologise for that. And Nutsu Cow, thanks for the donation going all the way to India. Let's find a way to have a conversation there, Treyo. No problem at all, and it'll be as long as you need it to be. Don't bring a tissue with you, but it's not going to be sexual. The grey table. Hi, Kaz. I know this might be unrelated, but I got recommended in the OSB with your advice. Thank you very much. The grey table, thank you very much. Fantastic. Grey, are you on Patreon? If not, get on board. I'm telling you now, I have people at RMC that ring up when they want assistance with their shoots, training exercises without troops, etc. And it works out well for them. The lols, okay, the laughs, I guess. Hey, mate, here's a question for you. If you join the army and pass the training Kapuka and accept a role, what would happen if you wanted to leave in a year? What's the process? No, there's no leaving. There's no leaving. You need to understand when you put your hand up for oath or affirmation, that's your goddamn fucking family name, that you're thrown in the middle of the table saying, I won't quit. You don't get to just leave. 4 years. Don't do it, mate. Just see it through. I'd also have to ask, what is a good reason? Are you not happy with the corps you're in? Consider a corps transfer. What has changed about the calling that you're suddenly being disenfranchised? Is it because of one boss? Is it because you don't get along with your crew? Again, that's a conversation in itself, mate. Speak to someone you trust. Tell them what you're thinking, that maybe, you'd rather be a professional golf player. I don't know what your reasoning is, but as a platoon sergeant, I didn't have much sympathy whatsoever for people who want to get out in the first 4 years. Just like I'd tell you, don't be a dickhead if you tried to pull out of university, if I was your professor, within 4 years and still have a HEX bill or get out of a trade. You need to finish something. Finish your 4 years, even if you get a corps transfer, and then go for something else. So at least you're showing that you see it through after you start and commit yourself to something that you said you wanted. Finish it. It's a sign of maturity too. 6 knots. The Gordian knot. Just cut it. G'day, Kaz and everyone. Love your advice to young blokes. Cheers, mate. I'm not at the level of Andrew Tate, but I am trying. And there's not too many voices that are trying, and those that are quite often get cut down. Can you join infantry with flat feet? No, you can't. The reason, there's a lot of people in infantry that have flat feet due to collapsed arches, but not getting into the military with flat feet for the simple fact that it puts undue physical stress on your lower back, okay, also your lower limbs. And the army doesn't want to pay that bill for the rest of their life. Brady, how are you? Nicole Trey, okay, sold out of all the subscriptions on the Patreon for personal contact. Nah, man, there's Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta. Just go for one that's got the an opening, man. We've still got about 35 positions left, I believe. G'day, Kaz. Got my enlistment date today. I'm off in a month. Majestic Yeti. What better time would you want to go and join the army if you're a Yeti than the dead centre of goddamn winter? You're a good Yeti. Hey, how you going there? Alexei Bibikov. Welcome to the Great Unwashed. Awesome to have you here, mate. Welcome. Can we get some thumbs up and maybe some tentacles going for Alexei? That's a great name. Modern history down below. Zach, what if your feet are not that severe? Look, the doctor will decide that. I'm not the doctor, mate. That'll happen at the medical session, at the medical process. So from there, when that occurs, man, they'll have a conversation with you. All right? All good. Matty H, welcome to the Great Unwashed. Matty H, welcome to the military. Nutsu Cow, who's now the little member there. Okay, get on parade, cut your hair. Don't worry about the double standards between males and females. Stop. Yeah. Onyx, I'm curious, what is your undesirable job course in the army? Normally artillery, MPs, and storeman. Normally. Why? Because artillery, very Reggie, very weird. Okay, but they're still essential. MPs, because they're not exactly a cop and people think it's going to be a fast track to police. It's not. And it also, I don't know, it kind of sucks. In every army, they don't like the MPs. It's always been that way. And they stand out with their red berets. And the Storeman because it's just the opposite of being battlefield ready. You know, what it is in the rear echelon looking after logistics, which is goddamn boring, and the storerooms are either cold or boiling hot. Joshy, I'll be jumping on that ASAP, Kaz. I got an appointment with my job provider on Monday. Well done, mate. Well done. Modern history. Hey, mate, can I ask you for advice for getting into reserves as a rifleman? You can, because that's what tonight is about a little bit too. That modern history, just give me 2 seconds because this is going to be good for you. I don't even know how to pronounce that unless it means revolution. G'day, Kaz. Leaving for Kapooka in July the 10th. Any advice for things to bring that may not be on the packing list? I've got one right here. You're all going to laugh at this. And before we do, Carl P. Okay. Carl P.'s grandfather, you know, he fought at Sword Beach on D-Day. Okay, he lost his life nearly a year ago. And Carl P., it was a year ago, and Carl just rose his favourite drink was a Bundy and rum, you know, and Carl, you know, for him, for your pop, okay, we raise a glass tonight because it's for your pop. I don't drink Bundaberg rum, but I went to the shop when I heard that was your granddad's favourite, and I bought a Screaming Soda, Bundaberg Screaming Soda. Now, I might look a little bit dyslexic when I go to take these lids off because sometimes it doesn't work out, but it did for Carl's pop. Cheers. Lift a glass, whatever you're drinking, unless it's blood, you vampires. The sweet taste of sugar. And all the best to him. He was a commando. But back to what we're talking about. The umbrella. You're going to get laughed at, especially by pokes, which is non-infantry, non-armoured corps, non-artillery. When they see that, they think, for some reason, it's some sort of softness to be used in an umbrella. Well, I'll tell you, that's folly, because this can be used for blocking the light. It can be used for blocking the rain. It can be used for a screen, okay, from the sun out of your eyes while you're lying in a position. But most of all, this can be used for taking notes, okay, that a commander is giving you. It can be to protect a mud model. It can be used so that at night time, instead of having a hoochie, okay, over the top of the machine gun when you do a picket, then one of each person just has this, puts it up, and then you're alert, looking out, okay, listening for the bad guys, the front door, the early warning of the platoon, you know, and this is an excellent bit of kit. Anyone laughs at you for having that, they either haven't been in the army long enough or they're not a frontline soldier. Best bit of kit you can have. Take a bag of lollies and put it in your echelon bag. You won't see that again until you probably get past red tabs, which is after the first portion of Kapooka. Take some photos of your family. You know, take some video of yourself before you join. Leave yourself a message in case you unlock the pussy factor 5, you know, within your own soul and think I'm going to become a quitter. Have a look at yourself, you know, in that and laugh at yourself. And maybe even get a message from your children, from your mum, and leave a message on their phones too and say you can't look back at this until this certain time, you know, and it'll be beautiful. Hey, there, fingers, Jared Hand, fantastic guy. We worked for years beside each other. He never came up short. He was my compadre, my number 2 every time we went to Kaneohe Bay, etc., or Louisiana. You know, he's one of the best blokes I've ever met in my life. And if anyone could put laughter in this guy's heart, even if I found out I had cancer, it'd be Fingers. Not too cow to you, my friend. And I'd love to see you in Tully. Mega Man, that's a big man. Hey, Kaz, what platoon company were you in when you went through Kapooka? I was in Bravo Company 11 platoon, mate. Hallway 11! Just drank a Pepsi with dinner. Wash your mouth out with sailor's soap. Mate, we don't drink Pepsi on this channel. We're Coke boys. See that? Unopened. I'd send it to you, but I don't know your address. Shannon, that's a beautiful name for a guy or a girl. I'll lift a beer as well, man. Rest in peace. Bam. Sahara Sand, in my eyes. I'm enlisting at the tender age of 46, Valentino Rossi's number. Advice for any youngish old, for an a youngish old lady in the RAF. You're an old lady at 46, just like we're an old man at 46. Mate, I'd say just enjoy it. It's good to see that you're getting in there. I would recommend going to RAF if someone getting in at an older age. Yep. Because now that should be the last job you ever have, Sahara Sand. And let me tell you something. I want to raise a glass to you too, because that's a fantastic name. Makes me feel like I'm back in Vietnam, even though I've never been there. Beautiful. Sahara Sand. Cass, you need your own line of In the Trenches with Kaz umbrellas. Imagine that. I look forward to talking to you again, Kaz. You're a very interesting person to talk to us, not just because you've got a cool name. Cass is a teacher, and she's got some really good head on her shoulders, so to speak. Very easy to talk to, okay, and able to communicate without offending. It's good. Nicole K, packet of wet ones. Yep, one of the best things you can have for cam cream, as well as just make yourself feel a little bit better. Penguin platoon? What the hell is that? There's no tough way of being in penguin platoon. You're an inspiration, Sahara, says Lightfoot. Onyx, red tabs gives me anxiety. Yep, that's when life sucks the most. Not only do you have no excuses of not being in the no tabs, but red tabs tells everyone you're on the goddamn bottom. Jennifer G, the guy who invented umbrellas was initially going to just call umbrella, but then he hesitated. Got it, dickhead. Two guys walk into a bar. You'd think one of them would have seen it. That's my stupid dad's joke. Zach Efron, is there a way to go to military qualified doctor to get a test before you even start your recruitment process? No, mate, no. But it won't cost you anything to go in when you get to the assessment session and get that done, mate. Yeah. Modern history. What are your thoughts on the Iran and Saudi Arabia being brought together by China? Yeah, look, China doesn't have a friend in the world. Who speaks Mandarin in Iran? They don't. Who speaks Persian in China? They don't. It looks good on paper. It's financial for now. Don't worry about that. One of the sad things about China, the battle brolly, that's right, fingers, that's what they call it. Hey, Kaz, doing my kapuka for Chocos soon. Any advice? Guys, for those sort of things, there's no point in me just talking about it. Get on Patreon. Don't be bloody tight with your cash for the price of a coffee. Get involved. Get on here. Have an hour's conversation, and I will have you absolutely ready to go. So, two things. One, we're going to talk about China for 2 seconds. Then we're going to speak about why we're talking tonight and what we're talking and who we're talking about. The plan B. The phoenix who rose from the ashes, who chose happiness and stoicism instead of, throwing the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak, and sulking for the rest of their life. So we've found out that because of their average age, because of the great leap that they tried to do with their agricultural advances, which flopped, with their one-child policy, etc., now they have got such a spectrum of older people as opposed to young people and not being replaced below replacement value, just like the rest of the world, and not taking in and taking into account they've never had immigration, which means they don't have any friends on earth anywhere. Also because they're CCP, one of the only communist/capitalist/socialist countries in the entire world, they've got no connections anywhere. So I heard something, and yet to see if it occurs by 2050, but they're expecting that population to have reduced by more than 700 million people. Now, will that mean just the elite are alive? I don't know. But you don't need to put any pressure at all on the red corn chip, China, because their problems are going to happen from within, from the young, as the VPNs allow them to look outside their postcode and realise there is a greater world behind the curtain, and they're going to potentially do the opposite of anything their government ever asks them, because that's what we do in pop culture when the Z generation decides, we're going to do the quiet quitting. This is not bad. Tastes a little bit like Denker Rub, really. Media manipulation, now that's a name. Okay, so I've joined as a camp follower because there weren't any spots. What? Okay. I will send a message to you in a moment. I won't say your name out loud on here. F-16, Iran speaks Arabic. Yep. Simon, Sarasan, I'm our ex-Air Force. Yep. Powley here is our local Raffy. Any questions to him? Oh my God, not interested. Older. Oh my God. Oh, right. Does China own Darwin Harbour? No. They don't own anything. Anytime the world wants, they can say, no, let's just do that with the bill. We all know everything made in China flops. You know, I don't have a problem with their people. You know, I have a problem with their CCP. But you can't have that sort of world and not have a tight leash. And now they've created something they cannot get out of. Mega Man, my platoon had a 53-year-old bloke who got caught by a secco falling asleep at his desk. You'd expect someone to be tired at 53. While we're having downtime, he had to do the door knock every hour and say, Corporal, I'm awake. It was hilarious. Yep. Then what is the interest of? The Western leadership? I really don't know. Because at the moment, I believe everything that we're seeing happen in Western society is by design. The reason I say that is because it's happening everywhere, like a script, at the same time, where wrong is right, where up is down, where we're seeing cultures that are permeating bad behaviour, decision-making, the breaking up of spirituality of the family unit, etc. You know, this is not an accident. I don't know what's coming, but something's coming. And unfortunately, most of the country, which means at least 51%, has absolutely got their head in a bucket. Very judgmental up to here when it comes to judging things they know nothing about. Okay, but completely unwilling to communicate about real subjects. You know, they get lost in the woods in stupid, trivial shit. You know, but don't allow you. They even silence you as soon as you start to talk about something that will affect them in the next decade or so. Hey, Dennis, how you going, mate? Dennis, very good channel. I'm ex-RAAMC, military, Medical Corps. Medical Corps, yeah? My head's in a bucket. Okay, so I'm going to read a... yes, mate, you are so right. I try to tell everyone, but they call me a conspiracy theorist. Modern history... I'm sorry, mate, I get lost in things. If you are not on Patreon, mate, please get on Patreon because you sound like we're going to have a great conversation. After we got off the phone the other day, I ended up having nearly a 4-hour conversation with one of the guys that was ex-1RAR, who's now serving. He's still serving, but I won't tell you. There's some things about it. We ended up having like a 4-hour conversation. He couldn't get off the phone from talking to me, but I couldn't get off the phone from talking to him. And I was tired after it, but I tell you what, I felt alive. And feeling alive is fantastico. Ignorance is bliss for too many people or hard topics. But then one day, the vampire will ask for the vampire familiar to pay his dues. And he's going to go, but I've been a loyal servant. Yeah, but you're still a fucking servant. You know, now bend your neck and give us your blood. You know, I'd rather die on my feet than on my knees, as the saying goes. That's for sure. And I'm telling you now, in our countries, we need to remember the time is going to come where they're going to ask on you, all those between the ages of 18 and 45, to come put a hand up too and volunteer if you can. So you've got two choices. You either get ready, you be the best version of yourself, or you eat chicken like you're a fucking grader, you know, an excavator, so that you're undeployable. You know, your BMI ends up being so big they're going to put a 4th letter in. Very nice. Josh, don't take what they write on the defence budget. It's more complicated. Yep. I've been watching you for years. I respect our boys so much. Modern history, so do I. And when we have the conversations, Navy veteran, great to see you there, mate. It's always good to see Navy veteran. He never breaks the rules with what he sends me, but he does send me some fantastic photos, of just him loving his goddamn life, and it's great to see. Briggs, you're on mute. Shout out for everyone headed for Townsville for Diamond Strike and Talisman Sabre 23. Call out to those guys, because Talisman Sabre is one of those exercises with coalition forces with using multiple avenues and agencies of movement, whether it be helos, whether it be planes, whether it be ships, whether it be armoured vehicles, whether it be working with other coalition forces, eating their ration packs, sharing a pit with someone from a fellow nation. You realise we're on the goddamn winning side. That's what we are. We're on the right side of history. The politicians aren't, pardon the language, but those cocksuckers can start saying things like, I love the country, and then I might start learning their names. Until then, eat a donut, enjoy your free Uber, and fuck off. Sorry. Dave Penson from Vietnam is getting ads. Why? I don't know, Dave. But you know what? Any AdSense goes to India, so that's a good thing too. All donations are still going to India. We really were disappointed on the weekend. I understand people probably had a lot on, but we held a fundraiser for one of our Indian fellas, Chanda, and at the moment we raised $200, but I put in $6,000. So I thought it was going to be a bit more than that. I thought the attendance would be a bit higher. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and it's still going to be enough at the moment to get him his tuk-tuk, a business, and one of his daughters married. And that is one of the proudest moments, projects. I don't like saying proud of myself. You should never say you're proud of yourself. You should say you're proud of something that the group achieved, but don't be one of these people that sits and pats himself on the back all the time. It's a bit freaking weird and cringy. Let other people say they're proud of you. Yep. 343, future 343, any hot tips for assessment day? Yep. When you go to assessment day, naturally there's nothing I can do for you about the medical. If something sticks out your asshole when you go and do a squat, I can't do anything about that, and I'm not volunteering to put a glove on like the hoof doctor to fix you up. But when it comes to the psychology, man, just put yourself on the other side of the desk. Remember, they're not looking for anything good about you. They're looking for a red flag, something that disqualifies you from service or makes you a liability in the eyes of the Defence Force when you're either operationally or domestically representing your country. If you show bias towards certain groups like Bud Light, we'll talk about that, or political things that might make you look like you might balk at doing the right thing for the people doing the wrong thing, if you know what I mean. You've got to pretend that you're going to be a whistleblower at the slightest sight of any impropriety. And you've never thought about taking your own life. You're not depressed, and you're not thinking about jumping off a building. And if they ask you to take the life of another person, it's in line with your duty. You're doing it because you will have already been trained before that. You don't do it with gusto. You don't do it with glee. You're doing it because it's him or you. Hey, Kaz, I'm sitting on an Army OSB next month, mate. Any tips for the day? Again, anything to do with OSB, you need to get on here. Dave D has passed his OSB. We've got 100% OSB pass rate on this channel. Having said that, let's divert, time out for a second. Right, so what was tonight about? What if you don't make it? What if it doesn't occur? We've got a guy today, and he gave it a red-hot crack. And the other day I caught up with him for lunch. I don't normally do that, but he's a good dude. And we've spoken for many, many hours. We had a 3-hour sit down. I gave him a In the Trenches with Kaz shirt. He gave me a fantastic signed book. Always sign any literature you give to someone. As a result of that, his book is now sitting beside Jordan Peterson's signed book to Kaz for those that don't know that I've sat down with Jordan Peterson. And now their books share the same book space. Fantastico. But that kid, young man, 2 seconds, not too cow. Carl P., thank you very much for 8,000, not lira, rupiah or more. Get on board, team. Throw a few bucks in for something bigger than yourself. Thanks for your channel, brother. Yep, team. Remember, everything's going to India. At the moment, this would be the perfect time to fix my faith in humanity and donate the price of a can of Coke in your region right now. Let's see who'll do it. And let that go to India and make a difference to abject poverty from a country called India that has more than 100 million people that can't even afford for their children to go to school. Do something. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a better life, so let's start giving. You guys and gals probably aren't even old enough to remember that. It changes my life. It puts tears in my eyes. When I hear the USA, who are the most bombastic, ignorant to music of the past, it's incredible. When We Are the World came out, that was when for America to Africa aid. All of the racism they talk about now, but almost everyone that sang that song were the richest American celebrities, white, singing for black children. It was beautiful. It brought the entire world together. It was a fantastic thing, and the whole world were able to pitch in money for the telethons. Yeah. Ruskin, Kaz, would there be a record on file of a previous enrolment if you didn't make it past early recruitment stage? Mate, you can try 3 times, Rusk. 3 times. Yep. Just have another go. Every couple of years to 4 years, we become a completely different person. Remember that. They understand that and they want you in. At the moment, they're begging for people to get in. We're seeing people get accepted now that were told absolutely not, only 2 years ago. So back to our fantastic young fella. Okay. I'm not going to tell you his name. But he just rang me today to let me know he chose action. And this is one of those things I've got jealous about. What this leads to as far as employment, I don't know. But it's something I consider when my daughter gets to 16 years old. Okay. So he has just signed himself up. He's an Army reservist. I'm not going to tell you his name. That's going to be his side hustle. But his actual training, he's going to go and educate himself. And he's doing his university electives is politics, philosophy, and ancient Rome, and war and humanitarian studies. How good is that? All of those things intertwined. Philosophy from Greece, Stoicism from Rome, humanitarian by being strong, economics, learning how to put less in the center, to be more frugal with money, to save for the day it's raining, and then invest when the market is down to get maximum profit. Rome, where it all started. Philosophy, fantastic. This kid, young man, is going to completely change himself. The hardest thing he's ever going to be able to do, like myself, like Carl, when we have these conversations, is be able to have a normal conversation with people, because he's not going to want to hang around with thin, paper-thin conversations over shit that is trivial and doesn't matter. When you can sit down with someone and have a deep conversation over something that changes the way you think, where every time you talk to someone, you feel like you're getting a little bit more smarter. The world is getting smaller, and you're feeling like your time is not being wasted around the fire. I put on my fire that I had surgery in the past and they wouldn't pass me. Rusk, have another go. See how it goes. When in doubt, we'll have a conversation. Josh Emoto, there you go. Thank you very much. That is going to India. That looks like the pool water okay, from the motel I stayed in the other day. Mutsu cow, it's going to India. Thank you very much, mate. That is a quarter of a full day's work for this guy once he gets his tuk-tuk, for perspective. Dave Penson, I failed the OSB but ended as a woe one. He's in Vietnam too, so he's smart. He's eating buy me rolls, maybe with a bit of tarantula in it, where his missus can't speak English either, so he can just zone out. He's a smart man. Simon, Mr. C, do memberships go towards India as well? Every single thing, everything financial about my channel, memberships, Patreon payment, super chats, everything is going towards India at the moment. Everything. Until the end of this month. All right? Jody. Hey, from the USA. Lovely, Jody. Hello to all you beautiful people. Hello to Jody Stevens. How you going, my dear? Can we get some thumbs up from everyone? Because it is not a good time to be awake for Jody, but she's so loyal to this channel, just as we are loyal to her sons and to her husband, Maddie. Yeah. People sometimes ask me, Jody, what is my fixation with USA? Why am I always so USA-centric? But people have to understand that when we were younger and where we grew up, that we were coalition partners with you guys, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, all of these fights. And then we watched you as the blue ribbon country, watching Carl Lewis, in the Olympics, watching the Brady Bunch after school. We knew that we were on the side of good, even though we're finding out now there's some shit that is shady as hell. But that's not the people in the street. And Jody, we love you, mate. I love the fact that we've spoken to you, and you and Maddie. Ed B, fantastic. 4th of July coming up, one of the coldest day in the year, for Australia. But, mate, yeah. You've got to believe in something, and we can't do it alone, and you're great coalition partners. They're talking about having anywhere up to 200,000 Americans in north of Australia soon. That's phenomenal. Navy veteran. It took me about 4 attempts to get in due to getting knocked back for immature at 16 and a half years old. It is too young. And 18, heart condition. Holy shit, 19, not enough experience for the job. And I applied for 20, same as last accepted at 21. Now, that is fantastic. Navy veteran, that is like this young bloke. He just keeps getting back up. But each time he gets up, he changes direction, jinks to the left, jinks to the right, and then chooses another lane. And he's just getting more and more, wire-guided to a life that is going to pay him back dividends by him being stoic, never being the victim. Mr. C, Caswell, welcome to the Voice of the People. Nutsu cow. Great to have you here, mate. Thank you very much and appreciate. Blinky B, did you have a backup, Kaz, if the ADF plan panned out? I didn't, mate. I didn't. And that scares the living shit out of me. Because I reckon if I hadn't got in, my ADHD didn't have too many fallback plans. I never even considered it, to tell you the truth. Because I'd grown up with my father in the army and I'm born on Anzac Day. So as far as I'm concerned, that should have been enough to just give me the go-ahead. Now, these days, we are trying so hard to make you guys perfect other than fitness before we get in. What we shouldn't be looking for necessarily is someone who's 100% perfect when it comes to fitness. We should be looking at someone who's 100% perfect when it comes to attitude. If your attitude is there, if you grew up playing sports, if you can take an order, if you're not a victim, if you're a conservative thinker, and you're not that victim, then we can do the rest. But the obligation has to be to Kapuka to change what they're doing and make it mandatory for you to pass a BFA before you leave Kapuka. You're there until you pass it. Otherwise, how can you possibly go into initial employment training or say, I'm a warrior first, I'm infantry first, and then logistics second, if you can't actually even meet the OH&S requirements of robustness to go out in a field environment and do a shit in the scrub safely? Blinky B. Not shoot cow with a 45-degree angle. Thank you very much. It's going to India. I love saying that. Guys and gals, when this money goes into this guy's account, the only reason I'm not putting it in his hand and it's going to his account is because I don't want anything to take away from every single dollar that can represent us Australians, USA as well, that says we didn't just talk shit to you. We didn't give you false hope. We delivered. And that's what we've done. We've delivered. Navy veteran, anyone been accepted at 21, took them 2 more years and 2 more years to have the role open and was fully certified chef when I got in, but I'm currently on my talk to MP after I gave back my 4 years. Whatever you do, just stay there, man, because we're going into frigid waters, so to speak. No one knows what ChatGPT is going to take over other than Bricky's labourer. Simon Powell, I'm currently talking to a RAF mate who works with RAF intelligence every day. I'd love to go to intelligence, but imagine trying to keep the secrets of the shit you hear. Joshy Fawns, have a good weekend, Nicole. Get that spirit up. I'll talk to you again soon on the new order. There we go. Take care, Nick. Nook is off, is she? See you later, my dear. Take care, Miss Nicole. Dave Penson, welcome to the Voice of the People. Thank you to Dave Penson, the Vietnam Woe One. Briggsy. Briggsy, you're on mute. I only drink Coke with OP rum. That's disgusting, the smell of rum. It's like a can of sexual assault. Jody Stevens. Good night, Nicole. Good night, Nicole. What are you doing tonight, Jody? What are you doing? Why are you still up? What time is it over there? Do you know what the guy said when the other guy put his hand on his shoulder at the Indian toilet? Lego, mate. Get it? Lego? Yeah. Yeah. We've got no idea what this world's going to look like in another 20 years, team, I tell you. I think we're on the back swing, of common sense at the moment. It seems to be going well. It's 6:20 in the morning. Yeah? Yeah. Well, it is always good to have you here. And my first day is just beginning. Hey, Jody, just so you know, in case I didn't tell you, I read the poem for your son, James Meredith Hupp, when I went and did a public speaking event for the God Squad, a bikie club down in Melbourne. And they loved it, absolutely loved it. I'm going back next month down to Melbourne to do a public speaking event again for the God Squad. And maybe I'll be doing some other groups there. When I come back, I'm looking at, again, approaching schools to do public speaking for young men and women, year 10, year 11 and 12, to see if we can't make a difference there. Modern history, sir, an incredibly controversial question that I don't want to ask until you say you're okay with it. Modern history, I'm able to talk about any subject. Nothing is off the table with me. There's just some things that in case you don't know, there's certain words that you can type, things you can say where the algorithm picks it up straight away and screws you up and spits you out. And that happens quite regularly to me. Jeff, my son is at Kapuka at the moment and I already noticed the massive increase in his confidence. That's right. Thanks for all your wise words. You have helped me through. Hard for parents too. Absolutely, Jeff. As a father of a daughter, despite the fact that she's the school captain, she's not an academic, and that doesn't hurt me to say we need to be realistic about what we're doing. We pay $80 a week for a tutor, but it still is not enough. So we always care about our kids. We really do. Mate, and I share your concerns, but guess what? He's going to come back pretty close to a man at this stage. Not quite, Still got to sometimes go and teach him a thing or two, but you're going to be happy with what you see, and I guarantee you're going to have some tears coming out your eyes when you go to Kapuka with pride, because he's doing this for your family name as well. guys and gals, when you hit when you hit a fork in the road, when you hit a hurdle for etc., you've got to do something with your life. I was going to stay in forever. I wasn't dealing very well. You know, when I got my yellow envelope for discharge, but when I got out, I only had a couple of moments to really make a decision. What am I going to do? And I went into YouTube, you know, to communicate with you guys, to give you someone that can talk about what it's like to serve the nation, to serve your family, you know, and the good things about it rather than their disinformation, okay? It's been a hard slog, but it's kept me out of the bar. It's kept me from bad behaviour, you know, and it's kept me away from the loose women, and that saved me. Alexi, hey Kaz, I've got a mate who's thinking of applying for commandos. What level of maturity are they after, and what fitness standards should be reaching? That's all on the DFR, mate. That's all on the DFR. And commandos, there's a big difference between maturity and responsibility. You can be extremely immature but very responsible. You know, my maturity levels, I still laugh at farts, mate, to tell you the truth. You know, he'll be all right. Get him to go through until he hits a roadblock. Joshy M, I'm 18, 19 at the end of the year. I've always had the army in the back of my mind, thinking of enlisting to go next year, planning to go infantry. Your videos have been very informative. Josh, what I'd say to you is don't wait. Apply, because sometimes it can be a longer process than what you expect. You know, and if you hit a hurdle, it'll give you a chance to readjust. You know, don't assume you can just wait, because then an act of God can happen. Then before you know it, time's up, over now. You know, mum spaghetti on your shirt already, and there goes a career gone, and then the best you can hope for is Army Reserve, where you'll still be like Carl, wishing that you had a little bit more. Just some more, please. You know? Hear that stuff from my father. It makes me so angry. He was there, man. I'm not sure what that was about. We've had conversations about the collection of equine reproductive fluids, so anything is on the table. There we are. I lost more than 5 cousins, sir. What from? Is flat feet bad for the ADF? It is bad, Zach. It is bad, especially if you're going for a combat role, namely infantry and engineers, to tell you the truth. It's like a whole conversation just happened without me looking down, and now I'm wondering what happened. I'm going to ring someone for 2 minutes, and they're not going to say what their name is, and we're not going to say who they are. We're just going to talk to them. Special guy of the channel.
Hi, mate.
Hey, Pat, how you going?
Good, what's happening?
Not much, mate. I just wanted to say we lifted a Bundaberg for you today.
Yeah, I'm watching the stream still.
Yeah, right. Mate, is there anything that you'd like to tell people here, you know, from the perspective of your life story, when you see people face a hurdle, okay, that all you should do is just change direction and then have another go at it?
Mate, no is only the first answer. Just, if it's a no, try again. Try another angle, because, that's with a lot of different things in life. Yeah, no isn't your final outcome. It's just an angle that didn't work. So that's what I'd say to everyone. Just have another chop.
Can you also give us a story about your pop, please?
Yeah, Gramps, we called him. My grandfather. So he was lied about his age in World War II to get in. He was English and lived in London, and his house was getting bombed. So him and his best mate signed up to go and kill Germans, and ended up in the Royal Marines. And from there, he got sent over to Burma to fight the Japanese. Ended up going back over to England after that. On the way back, their convoy got bombed by U-boats, and they stopped in at Egypt. He didn't fight there, but they fixed the ships, and went back to England, and he's volunteered for the commandos and did these 6-week course in Achnacarry in Scotland, and ended up. He was the 48th Royal Marine Commando, was his unit, and that was just before D-Day, and ended up they were deployed on Sword Beach, so there's the 5 beachheads, Omaha, Sword, all the others there, just off the top of my head. And he was in the first wave on the beach, and pretty much lost all his mates. And went through from there and till the end of the war. So lucky, and lived to be 98, and he died last year on the 9th of April. And it's his birthday today. It would have been his birthday today. So mate, thanks for the shout out, and I really appreciate that. So, big inspiration. And just makes you appreciate life and, what those guys did to give us our freedom of today. So I think about that all the time. It's good for everyone to think about that,
Mate, how crushing was it that he passed away the day before your march out?
On my march out day.
On your march out day, your pop, your stone, the pillar of stoicism, passed away. It was like his job was done when he saw you get your hat badge.
Yep. It was so surreal. Like, it's already, for me, we did a walkthrough. You did your first drill, practice through for your march out, and no one's watching. We did that, went through, and came off from there. And the platoon sergeant called me out and said, basically, we just found out he'd died. So it was already, that feeling of being on that parade ground was already quite emotional and what you'd been sort of through.
Hallowed ground.
Yeah, mate, and then to find out that, it was, and they said to me, the platoon commander was like, you don't have to do your march out, we understand. I was like, no way, so I was doing this. And
he would have teased you from the grave if you had been so melancholy struck. He would have gone, go and join the fucking Navy. What sort of grandson have I brought up?
Yeah. I just felt like he was there anyway while I was doing it, watching over me. And I've got his photos and medals up right next to the front door. He's on Overwatch over the house, and every day I walk out of the house, I see that. So.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, mate. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, mate, I'll let you go. I'll have a talk with you over the weekend or whatever, and you enjoy your Bundabergs like your pop used to have 2 a day.
Loved his Bundy rum, half mix with Coke, not Pepsi.
That's right.
And hated the ice. Don't put ice in it, you'll water it down. And that was, I think that was his little secret to life.
Some beautiful messages coming out for your Gramps here in chat at the moment from America and across the world.
Yep, no, I appreciate it, everyone. And look, it's a great thing you do, Kaz, for everybody who gets on your channel, learning and just making everyone a better version of themselves. And it's a credit to you, mate, what you do. So thanks again.
It's fueled by ADHD, mate.
All right. And everyone, just quickly, like I keep saying in the chat, jump on board for Chanda, for the charity and everything Kaz does. Like, it's the cost of a cup of coffee or a can of Coke, whatever. It'll, if I had more, I'd just keep putting it in. So thanks.
Yeah, don't. If you ever put money in, we don't want you to put money in twice. That's our thing. Mate, we were just talking before about sometimes it seems like I've got a love affair with America.
I was listening to that.
And what we're just harping on here is the fact that people, if the older generation understand, that the USA has always been the blue ribbon country for, if you're on their side, you're laughing sort of thing. Yep. They're not claiming to be perfect, and they're not, but no one is.
That's right.
And, they're facing some really hard problems at the moment. Their biggest threat is domestic, and that's disgusting.
It is. And unfortunately, we're sort of following suit a little bit.
Hey, the hero of Troy.
Yeah.
He just appreciated your story about your Gramps as well.
Oh, thanks for that. Yes. Hats off, sir.
Yeah, people don't know who Hero of Troy is, which is fine. But Hero of Troy is who we're talking about tonight. He's the guy that's just going on to now a university degree in politics, in Roman history, in economics, and war and humanitarian operations.
Smart man, smarter than me, that's for sure.
Fantastic. Wow. Imagine the conversation we're going to have with him.
Right. That's amazing.
Really nice bloke who chose stoicism, not victimhood, to re-franchise himself. Okay, Pat.
Yeah. All right, too easy. Thanks for the shout out from everyone, and Grants would have liked that. Thank you.
I hope you like your fake name. See you later, dentist.
See you later, bye.
So you're married. Go and have some sex. See ya. All those married people having sex around the world. At least 10% of them. Guys and gals, we're not going to keep this for too much longer. G'day, Vickers. How you going, mate? One more question. Is flat feet going to stop me from doing a job like inventory? Normally, Zach, yes. Having said that, go in. Don't go by my professional opinion because flat feet does stop you. When you go in there, the medics will decide, okay, yes, this is at an area where it'll be a problem, or no, it's not. So don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater thinking, oh, no, I can't have a job. Go through until someone says no. Jody, amen to that, man. We're in the countryside of USA, just as ready to keep our country alive and out of the hands of those people who are tearing us down from the inside. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely, Jody. We're doing some dedications, actually, and I thought I'd let you know, guys, that we're doing a little bit of a, a bit of a deep dive in the next few days on patriotism. And we are going to be doing a reaction video on the Star Spangled Banner, okay, which I believe is one of the most beautiful national anthems that when you hear it and you've been educated on what it's about a country that's actively been invaded and fought for their very survival and prevailed, you'll know why it is so bad to take a knee. Okay, it's a beautiful history that I didn't know until I heard it, and I loved it. You know, there's nothing wrong with being patriotic. You should love your country. And if you don't love it, you should fuck off. You know, there's plenty more to go to. 195 countries in the world. If you think your own country's no good, then get the fuck out. You know, go somewhere else. You know, and the grass won't be greener, let me tell you that. Because my brother is in infantry, now in Malaysia training with him, and I'm going to be enlisted around June or July next year. Any tips for you? Hugh, just stay with the system. If you're under, as long as you're over 17, get on board with the bat phone, and we will have some fantastic mentoring conversations so that it's about timing, not about if you get in. You know, and I look forward to being there for you. And Butterworth, where your brother is, all the best for him. I hope he enjoys the Roddy and the satay. Jody, I'm ready to make it a go. There we go. Kaz, 1 hour, 2 minutes. Oh, it is too. Ryan O'Keefe. I've been turned down 3 times from enlisting in infantry, and I've given them certificates from specialists that was needed, and they still said no. What exactly should I do? Ryan, okay, you need to have 3 choices. That's for starters. It should be if there's something that disqualifies you from infantry but allows you to do other corps. Okay, there you go. I'd need to know how old are you? I'd need to know what did they say was the reason. Was it maturity? Was it a medical issue? Was it attitude? Was it something you said psychologically? There's a whole lot of reasons. And the army is not for everyone, mate. Hugh Smith, thanks so much. Much appreciate you. You too, mate. And Hugh Grant, I know that's really you hiding behind Smith. I love the movies you're in as well. That's right, Lighty. Was it Jody's birthday yesterday? Because you have to check out the USA National Anthem from this year's Super Bowl. Simon, Chris Stapleton, absolutely amazing. I had goddamn tears in my eyes. You know, a lot of people hate reaction videos. I love reaction videos. Kaz, why do you like reaction videos? Well, I'll tell you. Because sometimes I'm a little bit slow. But when I watch a reaction video, not only am I watching the subject matter, but then there might also be Joshy Fawns or Simon Powell, you know, or Jody Stevens, who's down in the corner translating what they're seeing about that video. Combat Arms Channel, I do that, is because you see their breakdown and then you break down from your perspective on top of that. So then people are watching a video but understanding the extrapolation of information on something that suddenly becomes more apparent that wasn't before. You know, it translates the common sense of what you're watching and it transcends the message. Hey, the Wasp, my favourite band, Metallica, the national anthem, it's on YouTube. How is Metallica, the biggest concert in the history of the world, when they went to Russia, 1.6 million people went in the crowd. You know, there was a death toll amongst the people that turned up. Crazy. Yeah. So we're doing a bit of a deep dive. The only reason why the stories that I said haven't come out yet on dilemmas, on military dilemmas, so you guys can absolutely, pardon the language, but get a wet pussy over this, is because my $500 microphone ain't working for some reason. The Zoom H5 has stopped working on the eve of actually recording these videos with crisp, beautiful voice that comes out of the box that is my throat. Yeah, but we'll get around to that. I'll find a solution. Kaz, I need for you to know how many of people I share your channel with and how you encourage and educate and make the message of life and get up and go. Jody, that's beautiful, mate. And as you know, I am a spiritual guy. I don't say it very often, but I appreciate spirituality, because spirituality, whether it be Christian, whether it be Catholic, whether it be Muslim, whether it be Jewish, whether it be Hindu, or whether it be Buddhism, it's about accepting the fact there is something greater than yourself. It is the fact that you feel like you're being watched when no one is around. The tree will always make a sound when it falls down in that forest. Yeah, that you're not alone. Yep, the 10 Commandments, you know, it's so easy. Anyone could have made them because they're goddamn common sense, but so many people have such a hard time adhering to common sense and common decency. Cheers for the stream, Kaz. Have a good one. Big dog, second to none. Second to none, Johnny Diggs. Second to none. Yep. Diggsy, that was a great conversation the other night, eh? Yep. I was telling everyone it went for over 3 hours. Yep. There is no God but God. Oh, now there's a riddle. Yep, Simon Powell, absolutely. Let everyone's spirituality, if it makes them a better person, never, ever question their spirituality if it makes them a better person. Don't touch it. Australia is my nation too, modern history. But you know what? Here's one modern history. Let me say this one for you. When people actually ask you, war, it's bad. Why would you want to be a soldier? To me, I say to them, and I've said this to Johnny Diggs as well, and we explained this to each other. Would you do something if you heard a lady or a child screaming in the night, down an alley, in the rain, whether it be through criminality, whether it be from an act of God, whether it be from chance, whether she's injured herself, whether she needs help? Would you help her? Logistically, psychologically, mentally, physically? Would you do it? Of course you should. If not, move out of Australia, because we wouldn't want you here if you don't, if you're not a good Samaritan. But if you wouldn't do it as an individual, or you would do it as an individual, isn't the country that responds to bad behaviour by another country simply just a larger version of, not on my watch, bro, we're going to step in? I don't like what's happening at all. at all with the Ukraine. You either fucking help or you don't. You don't keep putting bandages and boxing gloves and the mouth guard back in to the soldier who's copping an absolute pizzling. If it's worth fighting for, then you go in 100 miles an hour and everyone should step up, regardless of what the cost is, and say, oi, no more. Let's put an end to this right now. You know, there's some fights that are worth having on that hill. But we need to remember too that there is horrible things happening all across this world at the moment that we allow to happen over there that don't make news because there's not a financial benefit to it. But at the same time, we shouldn't be funding things overseas if our own countries are on fire. You know, we shouldn't be disarming our own country while putting weapons in the hands of civilians in another country. The humanity. We should be looking for the peaceful solution, even if it takes force to achieve it. Yeah. I felt like it's a walk over ATM. Folks, please hit the like button. It helps, Kaz. Do you reckon it does help? To signing up to the Patreon and get a call with you? Yes, it does, Joshy. It does. We get people, Josh, that sometimes sign up to the Patreon. I send a message basically straight away to you. And some people just never, ever send a message back. Never give a call. You know, we had one guy that really sort of hurt me a little bit. When he, when I went away for that week doing the photography, I ended up speaking to him for about 4 hours, you know, over that 5 days, which was my time out. And then the next time he sent me a message, he was at recruiting for his assessment day. And he told me, yep, just passed the psychological screening. I'm going in for my medical now. And now he doesn't answer his phone, hasn't sent a message, hasn't told me what happened. You're going, dude, I gave you more than 4 hours of my time. Can't I get at least a, how you going? You know, I actually care about you when I'm communicating with you. You know, we care. Do you remember what we used to talk about on the phone? Joshy Fawns, I do. I do remember what we used to talk about. Yeah, I remember what I talk about with almost everyone. It's just some people have got very common names. Yeah. Well, guys and gals, why don't you get out of here, go and play a few rounds of Battlefield 2042, whatever it is. Have a good day and understand that, guys, I am your Australian YouTuber that looks at your comments, that reads your comments, that has to come up with something for you to talk about in advance. I just want you to sit back and enjoy yourself. Be part of the channel. Let's get us to 1 billion subscribers in the next few weeks. We might not achieve that, but we can try. Alexi, thanks for the stream tonight, Kaz. I want to prepare for both my boards. Have a good weekend, mate. We will. Netball tomorrow, but other than that, all I'm doing is going to be creating things for you this weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, Kaz. Love your work. We've got to get to that restaurant, Simon. We've got to. Modern History, best game. It is a good game. Hugh Smith, catch you, Kaz. Hey, do you remember Modern History that in Battlefield 1, I think it was? You know, there was a while when if you got shot and you went down, then the name of someone that actually died in the war's name came up on the board, on the screen. It was beautiful. Joshy says, I miss Lauren too. Yeah, so do I, mate. And Buck. Buck left as well. Well, we're carrying the torch. But that's okay. We must go on. Remember, team, you are a franchise of one. You need to illuminate your family name. Represent it. If it's not good, then illuminate it by your actions in this lifetime. And remember, it's a miracle you've got a life at all. So hang on to it. Live it. And Joshy M, thank you, sir. Modern History, yes, sir. It's Call of Duty. I can't do it. I just can't do the Call of Duty. I like it, but I can't compete with it. All right, guys, to Gramps out there and to the hero of Troy for his decision to jig to the left, to jig to the right, to choose a path of clarity, you know, rather than victimhood. He chose stoicism. Man, if you had a Patreon, I'd be signing up for you. with that, enjoy your weekend, team. Hillary Clinton's under your bed, and she's coming for you tonight. See you later, and I bet her nipples are hairy. See ya.